I'm excited to share with you the JUKI DNU 1541S. I've been using this for almost 3 years now as a production machine, and this thing is a beast and it's really good in almost all scenarios. One of the things I did get is a speed reducer, which I thought was going to be necessary because I'm sewing leather products that are pretty small. It was not necessary at all, and I took the speed reducer off and just use it directly. It is a variable speed motor, which is super nice. I'll bring you in here and sew something real quick to show you how it punches through the leather. So I'll sew these two pieces right here together, and I'll show you how slow you can go as well as how quick you can go. So I'll start it. So with the control of the foot, you can go quite slow, which is really nice. But when you're doing straightaways, and that's not turned all the way up. So after a lot of hours on this, you can gain a lot of control and a lot of speed. Now I will say, from the people I've trained on this machine, it takes about 20 hours and you really start feeling comfortable with the machine. So the thickest material I've sewn on this would be 3 pieces of 6 to 8 ounce leather. So you're talking over 1/2 inch of thickness, and it goes through that no problem. The only problem with sewing that thick of material, so it'd kind of be like sewing, maybe sewing this amount of thickness together. The problem with sewing this much thickness together is that the needle can deflect off because it has so much material to go through, and that's when a jam can happen. So if you're sewing thick stuff is when you're gonna have the biggest problem. But if it's soft, thick leather, it's not too difficult. If it's hard, thick leather, then you just want those pieces glued together, and you want to make sure they're flat to the bed before you sew. I jammed the machine a couple times, and this specific machine has a way to reset the timing super easily with this button in the back. So this button right here allows you to crank the machine and then retime it with that button, which is super nice because occasionally it would get out of timing. So I used to sew that really thick leather. I had the machine get outside my knowledge set twice in the past 3 years, and I had to bring in a repairman, and within 30 minutes he had it going. So that could just be because of my ignorance and lack of experience with how to fix machines. But if you do get an industrial sewing machine like this, it is important that you don't compound the issues and start unscrewing a bunch of things, because you can generally compound those mistakes, and that's what I did. In the past year, there has been 0 problems with the machine. I've trained 2 people on this machine, and the last person I've trained on this is about 40-50 hours in. 0 problems, 0 needles hitting. If you follow really good sewing machine rules, this machine's a beast, and just keeps going. We oil it a couple drops every single day. We use it probably 2 to 4 hours a day for the past 3 years. So it's had a lot of use, and that's the cool thing about sewing machines, is that it just holds its value for a really, really long time when you get something this solid. So I've got no complaints with this machine. As far as a usability standpoint and wanting to do leather working, it's fantastic. I've also sewed denim, I've sewed canvas, I've sewed just normal cloth, normal fabric. So it really can go through a lot of different materials. It's a really powerful industrial machine that can go super quick. It's one of those things that if you take care of it, it takes care of you. Another thing is that you can wind bobbins as you're sewing. So up here you've got the 2 threads, and they fish through, and then you can wind as you sew, which is convenient, but also can slow down production if you're doing that. So what I do is I wind 10 bobbins at once and just go full speed, and then after I wind the 10 bobbins, I just flip this off, and it's no longer winding, and then I'll just sew, and I've got a few days of sewing with 10 bobbins. If you're looking for a solid, strong, industrial sewing machine that can do leather, canvas, denim, and materials like that, I think this would be one to consider. I would definitely get this again, and once you get good at it, it's quite fun.